All right, good afternoon, everyone. Jason here, and I just wanted to give you a quick video tutorial on the updated trade plan. In fact, what I did is I took the explanation from the trading session on April 18th. This video is going to last, I think it lasts about 4 or 5 minutes long. So by the time, it's actually 8 minutes long, 8.5 minutes long. So by the time you watch this video and you read the information that's in the blog post here, I think it'll give you a pretty good understanding of the changes that we've made to the trade plan. And we've also created this setup worksheet to help you out as well. And so we think that with the introduction of this new set of tools, it will help streamline and clarify the trading day for you here. So without further ado, here is a description and brief video overview of the updated trade plan and the OTG setup cheat sheet. Document number 1 is the Oil Trading Group setup worksheet, and there is a trade plan sample also in the bottom right-hand corner called it's the 4.18 2006 CL Sample 2.0 Trade Plan. All right, so let's talk about what these specific things are. First of all, we're going to talk about the setup worksheet. So can you guys see this PDF here on my screen? Just want to make sure here before we go any further. Can you guys see the screen here? Okay. So what I've done is I've taken our setups and I have moved them over to this cheat sheet, okay? And so I've broken them down into breakout trades, and there are 4 of those, okay? And I've then broken them into fade trades, and there are 3 of those, okay? So you see each one of the setups, the rules, etc. around it, okay? And so each one of the setups has chart, example, rules, etc. Also, what I want to draw your attention to is, as an example, well, let's use this one here. Let's go... Well, we'll use this one because we may be talking about this one today. So breakout 4 or B4 setup is the OTG range trade, okay? And I give you the rules, the EMAs that are on it, the entries, the stops, potential targets, etc., etc. Okay? So that is the breakout range trade. The other one that I want to draw your attention to here is this B3, okay? Also, what I say up here is this is the OTG Trend Finder indicator trade. Your indicators used, OTG Trend Finder and the OTG Trade Plan. All right? So at the top of each one of these sections, I'm going to tell you what indicators to use. OTG Range Trade and 2 moving averages for the OTG Range Trade setup. This is all now in one spot for you. Okay? So that's one half of the equation. The other half of the equation is I am adjusting the trade plan into a new format for you, okay? So, session bias as an example. This is not what it is today, but this is just a sample trade plan, okay? So, if the session bias today is for a bull trend, this is not what it is today, okay? In fact, what I say in the actual trade plan today is there's really no sentiment today, given the fact that we had that meeting and there is quite a bit of uncertainty going on in price action. We've had some wild swings, et cetera, et cetera. But for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to say bull trend. There are going to be 2 strategies that can unfold during a day. And you see this all the time go on in here. There's going to be the primary strategy, and you've got the levels and the tactic. And then there's going to be a secondary strategy that could unfold as well based on market conditions. And we won't know until we actually get through and start trading the market what's going to be happening or which one is unfolding. Okay? So you've got 2 strategies, the primary strategy for the day and the secondary strategy for the day. Okay? Now, the primary strategy has a tactic that's involved. So in this case, the tactic for this range of levels would be F1. Would be the tactic. What does that mean? Well, you say, okay, F1 is the tactic that we would use to trade this level. You go over to your trade plan and you come down to fades, F equals fades, and the F1 tactic is the OTG S&R entries. Then you've got a set of rules, targets, stops, etc. for that tactic, for that strategy at that level. Okay? So again, primary strategy, level, tactic is F1. You go to your cheat sheet, you say up here, right here is F1. This is the rules for entry and a chart example of how to play it, etc., etc. All right, same thing with the next level is a B2 tactic. If it made it down to this level, then you would be using a breakout play at this level. So you go up and you take a look and you say, well, that tactic is B2. Here's B2 tactic, the OTG wave entry. And it gives you a set of rules how to play that entry and a chart example of how to get in and play that particular entry. So that's your trade plan for the day. Now, we also look at OTG pivot times. And this is the setup here is B3, always B3 on OTG pivot times. So if you come to your chart, there's your OTG trend finder. The indicator you would need is the trend finder and the trade plan. And this is how you play the OTG pivot times with your rules, stops, and targets. Okay? So this is on your trade plan every day. This is how you're going to play each one of these areas. Now, we have our retracement zones, right, that we look at. These are measured from the day's high to low. This has higher time frames, smaller time frames work. But the setup here is the F2. So you go over to your trade plan cheat sheet and you come down to F2, which is the trade plan 70.5 retracement. And this gives you a chart. It gives you a brief description of the setup, a chart, example, and the rules. Okay? So this is how you are going to be taking these trades on your trade plan on a daily, day in and day out basis, right? So you know there will be no ambiguity as to what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? You've got everything that you need set up for you right here, all right? So charts, rules, stops, what my thought process is as we enter the trading day. Again, this session bias is this strategy is based on the primary and secondary. We'll talk about it as it's developing. You have your pivot times, which are in there every single day. And Dave's going to throw a link, by the way. We wrote a blog post on the website. He's going to throw a link here into the box discussing this trade plan and giving you a written description of this as well. But again, this is going to give you, all right, so as you enter the day, this is a sample. Tomorrow, the live one will be up, okay? This is just a sample. But let's say that we looked at this and we said, hey, we're in for a bull trend here today, right? And so the first tactic off this level would be a fade long, or we would be looking for a breakout long at this particular level, right? Now, if the secondary strategy begins to unfold, then we would be looking at a breakout short of these two levels here, and that's the way that we would be running that. Now, you've got the pivot times, right? Times where you're expecting a move. This has a setup that is used, and that's chart B3, okay? And so speaking of that, let's take a look here. So what I've done on your charts, if you take a look here in the top left-hand corner, F1, you see that on the chart up top? You see that F1? That's the chart for setup F1. If you look here to the left, B3, this is the chart for setup B3. If you look down here in the bottom, on this bottom chart, top left-hand corner, B2. That's the chart for that setup. Off screen, you have the breakout trade, B4, right? OTG range trade. You have off screen, we have the B1 breakout trade, market maker or market trend indicator. It's all organized and set for you now so that there's no ambiguity. You can study and understand exactly where and what I'm looking at and why I am doing what I'm doing, right? So you won't have any questions or concerns about what setup I'm using and why I'm using it and what the primary strategy is for the day, what the secondary strategy is for the day. It's all laid out for you in advance on your trade plan, and also the charts are corresponding.